Hello and welcome back to All Elite Spotlight. I'm TNT, and today we're previewing the upcoming episode of AEW Dynamite coming this Wednesday, May 13th. And we have a lot packed into this 2 hours of pro wrestling, not the least of which will involve championships defended, champions just in action, and of course, MJF, among other things. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're coming fresh off of AEW Fairway to Hell, which saw Darby Allin again successfully defend his world title against Death Rider member Pac. That match was insane. A no DQ match. They took it all over the place. So it went from the ring immediately to sand traps, out on the green, up in the stands, off the stands, through tables, and ultimately, we had Darby Allin standing victorious yet again, but a toll taken on his body, of course, because it was a violent match, as can be expected with Pac. So how is Darby Allin going to fare in his defense against Konosuke Takeshita? Because that's exactly what Darby will have to do on AEW Dynamite. He is defending his world title yet again, this time against Konosuke Takeshita, the current reigning NJPW World Television Champion. So, we heard on Saturday from Don Callis himself that Okada had to go back to Japan, so standing in his place is Takeshita. And that does not mean Darby Allin gets an easier matchup, gets to have a night off. No, because he's going against the Alpha. So not a step back in terms of competition. In fact, he's got a younger, hungrier lion staring him in the face. So after turning back Tommaso Ciampa, turning back Brody King, Kevin Knight, and now Pac, he has to face the Alpha, Konosuke Takeshita. And this will be his third title defense basically in a week. So he is really running the gauntlet here. And how much longer can his body hold up? He went through 4 tables, the double-decker table setup from high up on the second tier of the balcony in that arena they were in on Saturday. And it was not the prettiest of landings, not to mention all the other punishment he took throughout the match. So Darby Allin really hanging on by a thread, in my estimation, at least his body. So I would imagine he is going to make it to Double or Nothing, that MJF will take the opportunity of a worn out, worn down champion in Darby Allin and go ahead and put his hair on the line because he's going to feel it's a safe bet that he can beat a degraded Darby Allin. Of course, that's assuming Darby Allin will win on Wednesday night against Konosuke. And I'm not writing off Takeshita because he's a great competitor. I've had nothing but respect and admiration for his ability in the ring. And I really think that Takeshita is beyond being an up-and-comer at this point in time. He is already here, and it's just a matter of time before he becomes the AEW World Champion. Don't forget, he was already the NJPW World Champion. So world titles are not out of his reach. However, my pick is that Darby Allin will find yet again another way to overcome this obstacle and pull out a victory and have another successful title defense. And we'll see. Also featured on Wednesday is MJF addressing this whole situation with the world title and the challenge that Darby laid out last Wednesday night. Now, Darby said he has to be there for the contract signing or he can forget about having a rematch in the future. So it looks like Darby is making this an all or nothing, now or never moment. So, like I mentioned already, I believe MJF, using his analytical mind of his, that he will take advantage of what he sees as a great opportunity to fight a worn down champion in Darby Allin. So I would fully expect him to go ahead with that contract signing and go ahead and make it official for Double or Nothing. Now, whether there'll be any added stipulations, I can't imagine that anything else needs to be added to a here versus title match. So I imagine it'll be just a straight up singles one-on-one match. We also have another 10-man tag, which seems to be a theme. We see it a lot lately here on Dynamite and AEW in general. We have the Young Bucks teaming up with Orange Cassidy, 1/3 of the Trios champions. And also rounding out that team, it's Cage and Cope. And they're going against the team of the Dogs, Clark Connors and David Finlay, and FTR with Tommaso Ciampa. So we're getting a mix-up, a bit of a mashup for what we'll see in Double or Nothing, where Cage and Cope will be challenging FTR for those tag titles in a New York street fight with their tag team careers on the line. That is the tag team careers of Cage and Cope. So I would imagine this is going to be utter chaos, right? Controlled chaos, but chaos nonetheless. The Bucks on quite the roll in my eyes as a tag team. They've been steamrolling through the competition, doing really well. The only loss that I believe they've had recently is in a 10-man tag when they were teamed up with the Rascals against the Death Riders and the Dogs, and it was Zachary Wentz of the Rascals who ate the pin on that occasion. But in a strict tag team setting, the Bucks usually come out on top. Now, this is not a strict tag team setting, so we'll see what happens. I imagine FTR, Ciampa, the Dogs, very great, all of them proficient even at cheating and bending the rules. Cage and Cope, they're going to want to get some momentum going into Double or Nothing. The Bucks still trying to make their way to the top. And Cassidy, I mean, he's just there to fit in, I guess. I don't know. But either way, I would think that FTR's team is likely going to get the win here by underhanded tactics. It's going to be highly entertaining. And at the end of the day, we get to see Cage and Cope teamed up with the Young Bucks and going against FTR and the Dogs. I mean, it's an excellent match. And you get the bonus of Cassidy and Ciampa in there as well. So I'm looking forward to it because I think this match is definitely going to be entertaining. You'll definitely be getting your value here with this match. Yeah, we also have Will Ospreay cleared for action per Renee's announcement this past Saturday, and he is going up against the Bang Bang Gang's own Ace Austin. So Will Ospreay jumping right back in there, right into the mix of things, and Ace Austin is no slouch in the ring. He just recently faced Okada and took him to the limit, basically, and I imagine he will do the same with Ospreay here again. We'll see also if Will Ospreay's training with the Death Riders maybe makes this not so difficult a match for him. We'll see if he has any new tricks, if he's doing a little less of his high-flying, high-risk maneuvers, maybe focusing more ground and pound technical aspects of his game. So that is actually something interesting to look forward to and see how that develops. Also, is he going to have any Death Riders at his side? Is Marina Shafir even going to be out there, maybe in his corner, or just keeping an eye out on him? So something to look forward to, something to keep an eye on. And we can't forget about Samoa Joe and the Ops. Samoa Joe just recently made his final offer. Those were his words, extending the hand one more time towards Will Ospreay. And he did say that if Will Ospreay does not accept, does not acknowledge his outstretched hand, that hand will turn into a fist. So Samoa Joe does not make idle threats, and I imagine we will hear from Samoa Joe and the Ops, maybe even see him at some point during this match or after it, and maybe also confront Will Ospreay face to face, which could in turn trigger the Death Riders to come out, and we could have eventually an entire explosion here, a faction war. And if it doesn't happen tonight, I definitely foresee it happening down the road in the future. And last but not least, the Owen Hart Men's and Women's Tournament is arriving. It is upon us, and we get the brackets announced on Wednesday. I'm definitely looking forward to that. That is probably my favorite tournament, other than, of course, the Continental Classic. So, I mean, AEW, you got to be honest here. They're so great with these tournaments. How can you not look forward to these things? It's definitely scratching an itch for me, and I can't wait to see who's going to be involved in this year's tournament and how the brackets fall. It's always an exciting time of the year, and I can't wait to see it. I'm sure you all agree with me as well. Good times. Great to see just the remembrance of Owen Hart and what he meant to the pro wrestling business. And how better to celebrate than with a great tournament with champions crowned afterwards. So that is what we have for us lined up so far for Dynamite. Let me know what you all think. What are we thinking about Darby Allin? Is he going to pull off the victory here against Takeshita? What are we going to hear from MJF? And how is Will Ospreay and the Death Riders and the Ops as well? How is this all going to play off? And who do you want to see in the Owen Hart tournament? Men's and women's. Who are you hoping will walk away as the champions? Maybe it's a little too early for that, but at least let me know what your thoughts are, who you'd like to see in it, who you'd like to see highlighted. But other than that, thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for those who've subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Like, share, comment, all that good stuff. And until I speak to you again, take care.